What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with blessing Awodibu and his latest physique update. And yes, he does look the best he has ever looked at 300 plus pounds. So this is a much better off-season look compared to what we saw from him earlier this year when he was carrying a lot of body fat and that wasn't a pretty look by any means, especially at the peak of his off-season. So not only did that make his prep longer, because if you guys remember, Blessing initially announced that he was gonna do the Pittsburgh Pro as his first show of the season. Then he mentioned the New York Pro, and then he reverted to the Legion Sports, where he presented a package that was far from being impressive. He wasn't in shape, we did not see any improvements, especially in terms of his legs. His obliques were looking blown out, the upper body, even that wasn't popping the way it used to before, and he did not even make top 5 at that show. And honestly, that wasn't even one of those shows that had a very deep lineup compared to these past 3 shows. So when you look at Blessing, you see a guy with an awesome back, amazing overall muscularity in the upper half, front to back, but he has very weak legs, plus the midsection that isn't the best out there either, and that becomes so detrimental to his entire physique because his balance is just so off. And until we see Blessing come in shredded and ripped to the bone, as well as having big enough legs, it is highly uncertain what his future is gonna look like as an IFBB pro. So we are now just 1 week out from the last Olympia qualifier of this year, and I cannot even think of one single show which Blessing would have won even if he showed up the way he did for the New York Pro back in 2022 or the Indy Pro. The competition is just getting better and better with every passing year, and Blessing is kind of stuck. I'm gonna say not even stuck. He has declined a lot. So what do you guys think? Will Blessing make it to next year's Olympia stage? Before you scroll or blink too hard, have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am. So what a response from Hadi Choopan to some people who said that Hadi is looking a bit softer this year leading into the Olympia compared to his previous looks. So he posted this video with his chest looking absolutely ripped to shreds. All the fibers, you can see him moving all over. So here is an interesting question. Is there anyone in that entire IFBB Pro League whose chest is as detailed and as ripped as Hadi Choopan? Stefan Matala is the only one that comes to mind, having that incredible detail in the chest and the shoulders area, and this depth and detail that is like a nightmare for Hadi's biggest rival over the last couple of years, who by the way has been Derek Lunsford, as that is like the biggest weakness that Derek Lunsford has. But that being said, we know one standout body part that isn't gonna help Hadi Choopan win that Olympia title back. His quads need to be bigger the way they were at the Arnold Ohio last year. They need to be more balanced, and his overall muscularity that should exceed the likes of Samson Dauda, and his back that also needs to be more drier and more detailed. Now in terms of conditioning, we know Hadi is gonna be the hottest and the most shredded guy on this year's Olympia stage, and we are now just over 4 weeks out from the men's open prejudging this year, and this is right about that time when Hadi arrives in the US so that he can get settled in and adjust to the new time zone. So Hadi Choopan skipped the Arnold this year, and he took the entire year off solely for one purpose: to make sure he peaks 100% for the Olympia this year. So is this gonna be that same redemption story like it was when he lost the Olympia back in 2023, and then he came back at the Arnold and he just shut the door on everyone, including Samson Dauda? Next up, we have an update from Matt Greggo. So what's the first thought that comes to your mind after looking at that front lat spread? So this guy can jump into an open shoe and probably do extremely well even now. Just take a look at his overall muscularity and the density that he has. Now he doesn't have any easier time trying to make that weight cutoff for Classic. And the reason is he has been one of those guys who has put on muscle at such a fast pace, probably one of the fastest growing guy in that entire classic physique division. And we have to keep in mind, previously he was competing in the men's physique, and we are looking at a guy who is gonna be in the men's open very soon. So he was another very big surprise at this year's Arnold, placing top 3, as nobody was talking about him leading into that show. And once again, the man is looking so sensational just 30 days before it's showtime. So we know his focus right now, that is on being the best classic physique bodybuilder that he has ever been. And the goal will be accomplished this year, as this is probably gonna be his highest placing at the Olympia in classic. But that being said, who would not agree? The Matt is gonna look much better without having to restrict himself, lowering the food intake, because that is what he has to do to make the weight cutoff. So he was top 10 at the Olympia last year. And there is that talk about quote-unquote more classic looking physiques taking over that top 10 at the Olympia this year. But that kind of shape and that kind of muscularity, it's gonna be very hard to beat. And for those of you guys who do not know, he's working with Chris Aceto as his coach, who always brings him in a phenomenal condition, and Derek Lunsford, that is his training partner. Next up, we have an update from Rubiel Mosquera aka Nexzilla, logged in for his first ever Olympia prep. So all that talk Rubiel struggle, staying on a strict diet over extended period of times. So that is a type of athlete who needs supervision to keep his mind on track. Because if Rubiel beats his Portugal Pro look, there is no reason to doubt why he won't be in that second Olympia call out this year. I mean, the man has got some of the biggest quads on the entire planet at the moment. He has some of the best side leg in the entire men's open. And he isn't just a mass monster with a big gut. For a guy who weighs 290 pounds on the stage, he's a master of posing and presentation too. And he has that amazing stomach control. And add him to the list of those guys who won 2 pro shows this year, Derek and Jordan Hutchinson being the other 2. So Rubiel is entering his first ever Mr. Olympia on a very high note and with a lot of momentum. So this guy is only 28 years old, and the more experience he gets, the more detailed and more mature his physique is gonna be. So where do you guys have Rubiel placing at his first ever Mr. Olympia? So have a look at the arms of Terrence Ruffin. From the Olympia back in 2016, he was one of those guys who had the privilege of competing in the first ever Classic Physique Olympia. And then look at this recent training update of him doing preacher curls. Now somehow Terrence was able to transform a genetically inferior muscle group into a very strong point. So this is the best Terrence's arms have ever looked. And this was something that was very much needed by him. Because if he is to challenge Mike Sommerfeld at the Olympia this year, everything has to go perfectly. And so far, everything has been clicking perfectly for Terrence since his 2 big wins at the Pittsburgh Pro and the New York Pro earlier this year. And he has made some tremendous progress during this short off season. And one of the biggest difference that everyone is going to notice in his physique at the Olympia this year, they are going to be those improved arms and improved hamstrings. The only 2 weaknesses that he had in the past, they are no longer weaknesses. So Terrence's last Olympia, that was 2 years back. He skipped the Olympia last year, and the man is a totally different bodybuilder now compared to back in 2023, and all in a very good way. He was able to put on some solid size in all the right areas, and he was able to enhance his aesthetics to a great degree. So he was in a pretty great condition at his last show, the New York Pro. But Terrence believes he can come in even better. So the Classic Physique Olympia this year, that is gonna be the most exciting one since 2019. As there are like 4 to 5 guys who have a very legit shot at this year's Olympia title. And that is gonna all depend on who shows up at their 100%. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.